everybody, welcome to Amy Music. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. That was a bad example. It was an example of me playing the blues scale badly. It was an example of me kind of trying to copy the solos that I hear from high school students, middle school students when I go to different jazz festivals. And it's a great start. But here's the problem, and it's why, I don't really think you're failing, but it's why I think you could do better if the blues scale is the only thing we've got to work with. And it's not. I've got other videos about how you can improvise over the blues without the blues scale. But let's just say that it is, because a lot of times a teacher will write on the board, all right, Tony, you're going to improvise for a chorus, C blues, these are the notes you can use. C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, B flat, and C. Tony, go. And then Tony does just what I did at the beginning when I showed you my bad example. The thing that the teacher often neglects is to tell Tony that you don't have to play the notes in order. You don't have to play all of the notes. You can take a break sometimes, and you can be creative and soulful with these notes. If you just write a string of notes up there, of course the kid's going to play all the notes. Of course they're probably going to play them in order. And of course they're probably not going to ever think, I could rest sometimes. So I'm going to show you just 3 things you can do to up your game if the blues scale is the only thing you have at your disposal. And again, it's not. But what if it was? Here's the first thing I'll show you. Instead of using all 6 of those notes, just choose 1. How about that? Could I take a whole chorus on 1 note and make it interesting? Let's see. How about the B flat? 2, 3, 4. Now, I don't know about you, but I really wanted to play more notes. You probably wanted to hear more notes as well, but you probably also thought, is she ever going to play another note? Well, if you were in the audience, you would think, is she ever going to play another note? Man, well, she's really making this note. She's doing what she can with it. Dang, well, that was kind of tasty. At least I hope so. I hope that's what you thought. If I'm going to make 1 note interesting, I've got to take a break sometimes. I've got to rest for a while. I don't know if you noticed, but sometimes I would rest for quite a while. And then when it was time to play that note again, I made sure to play with intention. So I played really strong jazz rhythms that I know will work. I've got a whole video about strong jazz rhythms. It's one of the first videos I ever made. They're rhythms like this. Ba, ba, da. Ba, bo, ba, da, da. Ba, da, 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 do, wa, da, 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 do, 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 da, 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 like that. Strong, intentional rhythms that swing. Now, when you add more notes to the mix, you have to keep these things in mind. So what if we just add 2 more notes to the mix? What if we set a rule that you can only play 3 of these notes? Let's call them C, B flat, and G. All right? Any order, but keep in mind, we want to play with intention. We want to take rests, and we want to have good, strong jazz rhythms. 2, 3, 4. Big, long rest. I didn't quite execute. You saw what I wanted to do. Not bad, right? It gets a little more interesting. All right, so that's my first advice. Just take a note. Just take 2 notes. Just take 3 notes and see what you can do with them. Don't just play 1 chorus like I'm doing for the sake of time on my YouTube video. Play 10 choruses. Put on your iReel play along, whatever play along. If you could just go to YouTube and type in C Blues play along and get a bunch of them. Put it on, play for 10 choruses and only let yourself play 2 notes or 3 notes or 1 note, whatever you decide. Limit yourself like that for a while. That's the first piece of advice. The second piece of advice I have is to play a melody that you create in yourself that somebody else might want to sing sometime. I don't know about you, but I'm never going to want to sing. I'm never going to want to sing that. But if you take these notes and think about them in a more intentional way, a way that screams, sing me, I think you're going to think of more ideas and better ideas. Let's try that. I'm going to sing along just because I want this to be really singable and memorable. Not bad. Did you notice some of the devices that I used in order to make a melodic solo? Long notes, some skips from low to high, from high to low. I used some repeating phrases, some phrases that I did over and over again so that you might have some connection with me while I'm playing. You might understand what I'm doing or predict what comes next even. Those are important things when you're building a solo, to make your audience feel like they're a part of the experience. All right, so that's the second thing. Play with melodic intention. Third thing is to make silly rules up for yourself about certain notes. I say silly because you probably wouldn't really ever do this while you're soloing. But when we practice, you know, sometimes we do silly things. So let's take these notes. Let's think about a couple of them. What if I tell myself that every time I play an F, I have to play it twice? It gave me something new, didn't it? Let's make a different silly rule. What about every time I play a B flat, a G has to follow? Oh, that's the first note I played that wasn't in the blues scale. I lose. The next rule I'm going to make is that I have to choose one strong rhythmic figure and stick with it the whole time. All right, so let's see. Ba-ba-doo-da, ba-ba-doo-da. How about that one? Change it slightly. Take your figure and decide to put it in different places. So sometimes I put it on beat 1, right? Ba ba boo ba 1. But maybe I put it on 2 here. Ba boo doo da doo da. You can be extra creative if you just give yourself one strong rhythmic figure and let yourself go with it. You might want to start a little easier. Maybe you just start with ba boo wah. Let's start on 3. 1, 2. Let's do it on 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba-boo-dee. Let's do it on 4. Ba-boo-da. I swear, after you limit yourself to these new kinds of ideas and you're not just running the scale up, running the scale down, at some point, you're going to start to put these ideas together and make your own amazing solos, just using the notes of the blues scale. And one thing that I forgot to say is that you only need one blues scale over the whole blues. You don't have to change to the 4 blues scale or the 5 blues scale like F or G. C will work over the whole thing. If you don't believe me, just ask B.B. King. So I'm going to keep these things in mind. I'm going to just use a couple of notes, a couple of places in the blues scale to focus on. I'm going to use strong rhythmic figures. I'm going to play melodically. I might not set silly rules. I might throw that one out the window for now, but let me see what kind of a solo I can take. My very best blues scale solo. 2, 3, 4. It's nice to run that 4 and sharp 4 and 5 together like that. Hope that gives you a lot to think about when it comes to the blues scale and how you could do better. I think you could do better. I'll see you next time on Amy Nolte Music.